right, ready to go? All right. Welcome to Gas Station Cappuccino. I'm Danny Lear. Next to me, Dean Sidoris. Caffeine. This is sponsored by Caffeine and Kilos.
Sponsored by PR Blend, Caffeine and Kilos.
Yeah. We got an email. Let's talk about this first. So on the last episode, we talked about firefighters.
Oh, good.
And the oxygen.
So someone responded. Good.
Someone responded.
First responder.
In more ways than one. So we talked about, okay, they're carrying the oxygen packs upstairs because there's the firefighter stair climb. That's the fundraiser for the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society, where they go 69 flights of stairs and they change their oxygen halfway up. And so you said, well, what do they do in a real fire? Like, what happens if it's like really going down on a top floor of a building somewhere? Mm-hmm. So they do have extra oxygen bottles, but they don't use it until they're the floor under the fire. So you just don't turn on the oxygen until you're the floor under the fire, and then it's time to get it going.
Oh, gotcha. So you got...
And it's not really oxygen, it's just air. It's just forced air. But yeah.
Cool, yeah. Okay, that makes sense. Like, why would you use it
on the bottom floor
before you need it?
Yeah, if it's 50 floors up and you're on the bottom floor, you don't really need it.
That makes sense, yeah. But for the event, you use it the whole time.
Right.
Just so you're not... Make it harder, basically.
I think it's part of the event.
Yeah, just make it harder because you're breathing out of a mask, not just normally.
Right. Yeah. Yep.
Interesting.
So there you go.
There it is.
Well, and it's interesting because I don't know if it really makes it harder. Like, it appears to be harder. Like, I think it's a mental aspect. So you feel like it's harder because this mask is in front of your face. It's like being underwater.
I would say it's definitely not as easy. Well, it's different underwater, I feel like, though, because you have the pressure.
Well, what I mean, though, is like, because the mask goes in front of your whole face, like when you're looking out of this thing is on your face. Mm-hmm. You know, and so it's like it's like this. If I said, like, let's time how long you can hold your breath. And then I say, okay, let's time how long you can hold your breath underwater. Like, you're probably going to be more calm now than underwater. Right? Like most people.
Yeah, but we're just not getting the pressure from the water against your body.
Well, I mean, like, you just dunk your head underwater. Like, it's not going to be like pressure.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm just saying, like, it's a psychological thing where it's like, oh, like, underwater, you couldn't breathe if you had to. So it's like more of a panicky thing, whereas like right now you can hold your breath longer than you probably could underwater. So it's kind of the same thing. You have that mask on, it's in front of your face, so you feel like you're in this little thing, or it's hard to breathe, or breathing's weird. But really, I mean, you know, you're still getting, like, when you breathe in, it gives you all the air you need. It's not like it's like, oh, you're breathing through this hose. Well, yeah, but that hose is forced air. Mm-hmm. So you're still getting plenty of air. Mm-hmm. You know, it just feels like it's so much less. And when you exhale, it's weird. When you exhale, you get a little restriction because there's the mask and everything, you know. There's this, so it has a seal. Yeah. So it's like harder to breathe out than it is to breathe in. So that's kind of weird.
I wonder if it's similar to like how you feel like with the snorkel.
Yeah, that's a good question. Well, a snorkel...
But a snorkel like without even being in the water. Just like putting a snorkel on your mouth.
Well, snorkel I think is worse because it's maybe the same size tube, but on with a air tank on, like I said, it's forced air. Like you start breathing in and it pushes air through, right? With a snorkel, it's
taking longer. Yeah, it's just like, well, I wonder if it's probably not taking longer to get into you, but it's just I don't know. I wonder how that works.
Yeah, I don't know.
Interesting.
Also makes me wonder, so think about like really long snorkels like in cartoons and they put all these straws together or whatever. Mm-hmm. So if the snorkel's long enough, would you suffocate because the air you're breathing out doesn't get all the way out of the tube? You're just rebreathing the same air.
What if you're just like...
So would it be unoxygenated?
But what if you're not? But what if you're just breathing out with not through the snorkel? If you're breathing out through...
That's what you'd have to do.
Yeah.
Well, that's good to know.
Yeah. Good to know.
In case ever get caught like 50 feet down with just a hose, and someone gives me a hose to breathe through, you breathe in through the hose and then exhale through your nose.
You ever hear those?
In through the hose, out through the nose.
You ever hear those crazy stories about people running from like killer bees and they get in the water and like use like the bamboo straws to like breathe?
Yeah.
But then the bees will figure that out.
Start going in the straw.
And they go in the straw.
Are you serious?
Oh yeah. That's like nightmare fuel right there.
Could you imagine you're underwater from these bees and then all of a sudden one's in your mouth?
Yeah, and then they just go right to it. They can sense the disruption in the air because they can hear it or sense it.
Well, also I think they're drawn to carbon dioxide.
Yeah, there's that. Yeah, there it is. That's probably what it was then.
I don't know. I made that up.
Well, I think they are because people say like if you like get spooked by bees or something, they can sense that because the emissions that your body puts out, like from a fear response, just like
pheromones.
Yeah, exactly. Which is like So you just, like the more calm you stay, the less likely you are to be bit or anything like that.
Well, it makes sense to me because we're all just fucking bunch of energy. We're a bunch of empty space.
Yeah, that's a whole other thing.
So I mean, why couldn't the bee notice?
It's true. Very true.
Man. Yeah. Well, Dino, how's the hand? You hurt your hand. Put a little kink in your body weight workouts.
Yeah, I was able to do a running one though. Griff. Griffin or Griff?
The old forward backwards guy?
Yeah, 800 meters forward, 400 meters backwards.
Yeah, and repeat.
Twice over. So you run, what is that, a mile and a half?
Yeah, I guess so.
But it's a very long mile and a half.
Yeah, it feels...
That 400 meters backwards is just... Because you're basically just running on your tippy toes, and your calves are doing like most of the work.
Yeah.
You're not going to be heel striking or running like on your heels backwards. You're on your tippy toes.
Right.
Like, this is kind of how it ends up being. You're kind of like shuffling back on your tippy toes, and it just fucking sucks.
Yeah, I was getting good quad pump that backwards running because it's like the leg extensions.
Yeah, my quads felt fine, but it maybe because they were just maybe my calves. I have large calves. Maybe my calves were just overcompensating. I don't know. Maybe I was just on my toes too much. I don't know. I didn't really feel my quads. My calves were dead.
You should be a calf model.
Yeah, should.
It's like when I used to be a teacher, I had the principal who's proud of his calves.
Oh yeah, that guy.
It's a real story. All right. And these stories go there. It never ends. They go on forever about this guy. But so some people didn't like him because he was overbearing. I loved it. It was like living The Office.
Mm-hmm.
It was like working for Michael Scott. So he and this is the principal of a high school. He's telling me first time I meet him. He goes, "Hey, you work out? Do you exercise?" Yeah, I work out. He goes, "Yeah, me too." I'm in there and I'm just in the gym stacking these 45s on. And I'm just stacking them and stacking them, and everyone's looking at me. What's that old man gonna do with all that weight? All right, let me interrupt the story here. The guy was like 50. He wasn't really that old.
Okay.
What's that old man gonna do with all that weight? And then I walk over there and just bust out this calf raises. And that's when it took a second, and then I realized the entire story was about the calf raise machine.
The one is it like the one where you put on your shoulders?
No,
or is it the sit down
this
one?
one was like the sit down one.
Where you sit
His
there and
demonstration, just sit there and raise your calves.
Talk about a waste of time.
And then he would flex them for me and show me his calves sometimes.
That's weird.
He would like pull up his pant leg.
Okay.
And then like flex his calves. One time he flexed his calves for my class. We're bench pressing, and he comes in and he sees we're doing bench, and so he starts getting all, pumped up, and he's like, "Hey, something about bench. Can you do that?" He goes, "Oh yeah, whatever." It was like 135 pounds, and he sat down and hammered out like 10, 12 reps, and the kids are all cheering him on, all pumped up because like freshmen in high school, like most of these kids aren't very strong anyway, and now this guy's like hammering this out. And then I'm off the side like, it's 135, like what is happening here, right? But everyone's all pumped, and he gets off.
Is this guy married?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, wow.
No kids. Married
I was going to say he was single.
He gets up, the kids are all pumped, and he's like, "You think that's good? Check this out." Throws his foot up, and he's like standing next to the bench, puts his foot up on the bench, like Captain Morgan, lifts up his khaki pants, right, his khaki slacks, and then flexes his calf muscles for the kids. For 40 cheering high school students.
Did they actually cheer?
And then, everyone's like, "Oh!" What'd he do?
My God.
Well, now I'm back there egging him on, going, "Yeah!" Like, I'm pumping him. I'm clapping and cheering.
So now
getting the crowd going.
Now he probably walked out of there just like high as a kite.
I'm surprised he made it out the door with how big his head was. Well, so then it's not over. So I'm thinking, like, this is it. Like, he's hit an all-time low or an all-time high. I can't tell. And
sometimes those are the same thing.
It's the same thing. Yeah. It's a circle. It's a circle.
Wow.
And then what happened is he dropped this bomb. He goes, Hey, hold on. You think that's good?
Oh no, goes on.
Wait till you see the better one.
Oh wow, so he's got a stronger calf.
Yeah. So then he popped the other calf up there, and gave it the old flexaroo.
Did he like just stare with like just dead eyes, dead serious, just like, and then flex it without even breaking like a smirk?
This is real. I'm sitting there when he said that. You should see the better one. I almost lost my shit. I was like, this is too much. Now this has gone too far. Now we're past the too far.
What was his name?
John Alba.
John. Oh, you could have just went first name.
Yeah, whatever.
John.
Hey, these stories go on forever. So I thought, okay, in PE class he's flexing the calves. I'm talking about it, and then someone was an English teacher. And I thought it was really odd one day. Someone mentioned his calves or something. He was in the class, and he actually pulled up his pant legs and then walked around the classroom on his tippy toes. And like in English class, I'm like, all right, PE, I could see how he can make that, like you make that gap. Like, you know what I mean? Like, oh yeah, like this is an appropriate place. How do you figure out in like an English classroom, how do you work that in there?
Maybe they were talking about steer and cattle, and he was like, speaking of calves.
Dude,
I don't know.
I got the I can do this. I can tell these stories. Seriously, these stories don't end. It's like never.
And so, dude, check out. You know what it is? Know what it is?
Small man syndrome.
Well, he's just a loser.
Yeah. He was nice. So everyone hated him. I didn't. Not everyone hated him. I shouldn't say that. Some people didn't like him just because it was like because of this type of stuff. Like over the top.
What if he was like a?
I actually got along with him great. Like I actually really embraced it all. Once you just kind of realize like that's what this guy's into and that's just how he is. I thought he was always nice to me. You know.
What if he respected that from you and noticed that, and then he's been following your endeavors since then?
He probably listens.
And listens to the podcast.
Someone's gonna forward it to him. That's okay. If that's the case, look, John, it's nothing personal. We always got along great, and these are all true stories. So I'm not making things up.
I feel like if he had an Instagram, it would just be a bunch of just like daily calf photos. Update.
Oh my god. Oh, probably, dude. We could get into phone pictures. That's whole.
Just different pose, or no, same pose.
Same pose.
Different day.
Maybe different socks.
And there's like a countdown.
Dude, so I meet going my first day on the job. Well, I met him over the summer, and that's when that whole first thing went down. Mm-hmm. Then I go in first day of before school for like teacher prep. I go in the locker room and the other PE teachers. One of them I kind of knew, one I didn't. Hey guys, how's it going? Nice to meet you. And they said, oh, did you meet the principal? So, oh yeah, over the summer, he called me. I came down, met him, gave me a little tour of the school, whatever. And then a guy looks at me and goes, did he show you his calves?
Oh God! So it's a known thing.
And I didn't know it was a known thing.
Oh, man.
I just thought I had this experience. Yeah. I should have known but that's the first thing. Did you meet him? Yeah. Did he show you his calves? And I look and I said, funny thing, yeah, he did. And they're like, I knew it. Ah!
So wait. Were they good calves?
They're big. They're bulbous.
They're like oversized.
They're pretty good sized calves.
Now, is he? What is his ethnicity?
Hispanic.
Okay, I was gonna say, is he Hispanic or? No. I know a lot of some of my Filipino friends have large calves.
Oh yeah.
That's just.
Well, this guy's Hispanics, probably 5'6".
So he's a little bowling ball.
He's a little bowling, but he wasn't like overweight, like not super overweight. Like he was
dense.
He was dense. He was husky, but he was his chest stuck out further in his gut, which is all you can ask for if you're a man, or a woman.
Yeah.
That's really the kind of the goal at all times. Excited about school too. We walk in first day of school. We had like teacher meeting. Mm-hmm. Oh man, I don't know if I want to tell these stories now. I'm getting
maybe not. You never know.
Yeah. Okay. I don't know. It always seemed to be cold. It always seemed to be cold in the room when he was in there.
So
let's just say it that way. It seemed like it was cold in there all the time.
Okay.
Through layers.
Oh wow.
We'd sit there. We'd be afterwards. People would be discussing the meeting. They'd be like, he had an undershirt. He had like the wife beater on, And then there was, I believe there's a t-shirt layer and the sweater. And it still was cold in there.
Yeah.
And everyone could still tell. So not only he was still cold with all that going on, but visually we could see how cold he was even through, they penetrated all through 3 layers.
You know what it is, he's just in there, he's getting to going looking at everybody's calves.
He's telling me about this, I'm telling you, you gotta stop me at some point. He's telling me about, this is like gold. Tell me about this trainer he's got. And,
a personal trainer?
Personal trainer.
Okay.
And he's like, oh, let me show you. She used to do these bodybuilding shows and stuff. So he pulls out his phone to like show me pictures of this personal trainer, see if I know her, whatever, right? Mm-hmm. And he's flipped through these pictures on his phone, kind of going through them at a normal pace. And then all of a sudden his pace slows a little. And one of the pictures comes across, which is just a flexed arm.
Of himself?
It was just the arm. But like his
arm.
The scrolling clearly changed speeds right before he got to it, and then he lingered for a second, and then went on to the next one, like, oh, that's not it.
What?
Right?
Oh, what's that doing there?
And I said, well, hold on a second. Is that... Because I know exactly what's going on here.
Yeah.
I said, is that your arm?
Whoa, whose pipes are those?
Whose cannons? He goes, oh, yeah, and then he goes back to it. Oh yeah! So, oh man, look at that thing.
Oh my God!
Is that good pump there? Is that after a bicep workout, some curls? He goes, oh yeah, I was leaving the gym, and I thought I'm pretty good. Took a little picture. So it looks great. You know who would love to see that? Coach Mitchell. He's got big arms.
So you guys were teasing him at this point.
And he goes, he just looked at me. He said, "You think you would?" Oh my God! I said, "Oh, he'd love to see that. You kidding me?" And he goes, he's always got pretty big arms. So, but you see those things? Hey, you show him that. You show him. He goes, yeah, not bad for an old man. And again, he's like in his early 50s, not old. I go, yeah, you should go show him what an old man's arm's supposed to look like. And he goes, I guess I'm going to. Turn around and left.
Right then and there.
Yeah. So he never.
And he probably just walked up to him and started flexing. And Mitchell was probably like, wait, what?
Yeah.
What the fuck just happened?
So then he leaves. Yeah, he's like, you think so? Oh, yeah. Got out of there. Get back in after class over, walk in the locker room. And Coach Mitchell he walks in, grinning ear to ear, just staring at me.
He knew you had something to do with it.
He absolutely knew I said
Danny said you might want to check these out. What do you think?
Show him the picture.
Yeah, man.
He just looks at me, he's like, you.
Dude, that's funny.
Oh, I'm telling you, tip the iceberg.
What is a more useless workout in a Globo gym environment than the calf raise?
Oh man, I know.
Like seriously, what could you waste your time more doing in a Globo gym than that?
I can't. There isn't.
I'm trying to think too.
I was thinking like the forearm, sometimes that forearm stuff, but like honestly, grip is useful.
Yeah, I mean like the reverse forearm press.
Tricep extensions, yeah.
That's what I meant. Yeah, the tricep
machine. Yeah, I guess. I don't know.
But you can actually feel that work. Like that I guess you feel your calves thing. But the calves are a genetic thing.
Well,
they can grow a little bit, and you can tone them with diet and appetite.
It's like anything else, but like, it's just, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know the benefit.
Yeah.
I maybe just really like big calves.
I don't know, man. I feel like that's like, I think that's pretty sure that's the most common like male plastic surgery.
Implant?
Yeah.
Calf implants?
Yep. That's a real thing. That's especially for like pro bodybuilders, because like, you're a leaner guy, that's just not going to happen. That's a very genetic trait.
Well, it's like they can grow like any other muscle, but it's a lot of it has.
But no, they don't though.
Yes, they do. It's like any other muscle in the body.
I'm telling you, look it up.
Okay, we can look it up.
Look it up. It won't, like, you can take a bunch of steroids and still not grow your calves.
No, if you work them, they will grow. That's just like any other muscle. No, they don't have like special characteristics that other muscles don't have.
It has something to do with just your bone structure and your like just your overall just like mass down there. You can't just grow this huge mass with like skinny legs. Just like how some tall people, like, look at some tall weightlifters.
Well,
they don't have these huge, gigantic quads, even though they can squat 500 pounds, but their legs are still skinny.
Right.
It's the same thing with, like, it's like, for instance, like,
I think so. The calves, though, there is the Achilles. Like if you have a longer Achilles or a shorter Achilles, that'll matter. Because if you have a long Achilles, obviously you can't grow muscle on your Achilles tendon. It's only going to be on your actual calf muscle. The muscle itself is going to proportionally, like it'll grow just as much as a bicep will grow a certain percentage of its size or whatever. A calf's the same.
Yeah, and yeah, I understand what you're saying, but like I said, it all comes down to the structure and what's available there, where it's even able to grow. You can't just grow this huge calf on this skinny leg because you do calf raises. It's not how it works.
No, I think it is.
Dude, it's not.
Yeah, it's fine. So, well, I think a big part of it is that it's what you did when you were younger, the sports and stuff you played. For example, a lot of times people that played a lot of soccer growing up will generally have a little bigger calves because you spent more time running and more time like out on grass fields running around, right? What's that?
I wish that was true.
Yeah, it's true. Dante has no calves.
It's. I mean, I've seen many things that talk about it. I wish I was making it up.
Yeah, I wish.
It'd be easier to quit arguing about it.
Well, I'm not
on my end.
Well, yeah. Well, I have
it's a very genetic trait is the calf muscle. Like, yeah, you can grow it bigger for you.
Right.
Like your definition of bigger, but you won't achieve that look that you want it to look, no matter how hard and how many steroids you take to try and get it bigger. That I watched this whole thing about it on this bodybuilding documentary about how that's the most common used implant in bodybuilding, which is actually
I believe that.
There's becoming this huge.
It's an issue.
Well, because no matter how hard you work them, they can't grow to a certain extent.
Interesting.
So that's why the most common, like these guys are getting these calf implants that are pro bodybuilders because nothing's changing. Like their whole upper body can get huge.
Yeah.
No matter what, then they just get. But the calves is different. It just works differently.
Huh.
It has to do with your shin length and all this other stuff. It was this whole thing. There was a whole explanation.
Interesting.
It's just how your foundation is built on how much it can grow.
I don't have any facts either way, so I'm not going to argue like I do.
Yeah. Check it out.
Yeah. I'll tell you one thing. It's actually interesting.
No, it is. You can. They can grow. They're going to grow. That's not what I'm not saying.
Yeah.
But there's a limit to how far it can grow.
Interesting. I believe that it makes sense that it would be the #1 implant anyway, because if you just think of what people spend their time doing, especially when they get into bodybuilding, like when you first start getting into bodybuilding, like most people are trying to like look jacked, and so they're doing all this upper body stuff. Maybe they're doing some squats or whatever because someone told them that was good. Or you do a lot of leg extensions. You might do some hamstring curls, some glute work, whatever, like things like that. That's on your leg day. But it's like it's funny, a lot of times, like you look at time, a lot of times they spend, like leg day, there was one day, and they have like an upper body push day, an upper body pull day, and like all, like that type of stuff. I just think they in general spend a lot more time on their upper bodies and their arms, do a lot more volume with their arms and upper body, stuff like that. And so if you look at that, I think that's why just a lot of times that's a lagging thing. Also, I'm not saying I think both things may be true.
No. Oh yeah, but look at, for example, like
so that's where they have the most room where they need it.
Well, think about someone like who probably trained legs their entire life,
right?
And was a professional athlete, like a James Townsend.
Yeah,
he doesn't have a calf, but that guy is strong as an ox.
Yeah.
In his legs, he can squat over 500 pounds with ease.
Yeah.
And his calves aren't growing, but he's huge.
Right.
Or like a Scott.
Right. Yeah.
Those are two prime examples of strength athletes that use their legs 10,000 times more than a normal person, in a training environment that,
But are they doing hypertrophy work on their calves?
Well, I'm sure that they are with like when you're doing explosive movements to be a professional football player.
Well, explosive movements is not hypertrophy work.
Well, I mean, I'm sure that they were. Well, hypertrophy is squatting.
Well, no, hypertrophy is
squatting for bigger reps.
Well, it's squatting to make the muscles grow, like doing the rep schemes in order to like facilitate muscle growth.
Yeah.
So I'm
sure that he was probably giving his whole body the same that he was for everything else. Like when you're training like to be like to grow muscle mass and size to be a football player, you're probably not neglecting every muscle, or you're probably doing the same for every muscle.
I don't know, but it doesn't matter. That's not anything there.
Or you think he's just in the bodybuilding? He's like, you know what? I'm just gonna not do anything
I don't think
my calves, but I'm gonna work out everything else really hard.
I don't think he did as many reps for calf raises or that type of thing as he did for everything else.
Maybe not. I mean, big curls aren't necessarily going to do anything for you as a professional athlete.
No. Well, depend. Well, it depends. Well, if you're trying to put on size, if you're just trying to get bigger, you put on some mass that way. But yeah, I have no idea. I'm not saying you're wrong. Like I said, I really don't know factually either way.
Number one common plastic surgery for men.
I do absolutely believe that. I'm actually going to go the other way. I want to look into getting a calf reduction because these things are so big. They're like they rub on the inside of my pants sometimes.
Yeah, I got bigger calves. Like I have genetically bigger calves, but my dad had big calves too.
One time I was wearing these waders, these fishing waders, and they're these cheap rubber ones. Like I just got this cheap rubber pair, and my calves are rubbing against the insides the entire time because my calves are too big for them. And so it was like, and it was hot outside. It was like burning the hair, like rubbing the hair off my legs, and so it was like this sweaty, burnt rubbers. It smelled like sex, like used condoms. It was horrible.
That's descriptive.
That's why I want to get this calf reduction.
The thing about this, though, see, I do zero. I've never done calf hypertrophy in my entire life.
Yeah.
And my calves are way big compared even to like my legs and my size because it's just genetically, that's just how they were.
Yeah.
So I think it goes both ways.
Sure.
None or there is. Like I've never done a fucking calf raise in my life.
Not one.
Not one. I've never, I might have done like a lunge.
Yeah.
But like I've never sat down at a gym and worked out my calves. That has never happened.
Well, I'm telling you right now, you're missing out.
Missing out on not looking like an idiot.
You're missing out on it. It's not a part of my routine at this point, but I'll tell you what. I'm down to some calf raises. If you ever want to give it a go, I'll show you the ropes.
I bet you my calves are pretty weak.
What we'll do is we'll just use body weight. Like you can get on my shoulders. I'll do some calf raises. I'll get on your shoulders. You can do some.
No, what we should do is have somebody, plastic surgeon or anatomy professional that knows about calves specifically.
Hey, if you have calf facts, like if you actually know about this, the calves do grow at a different rate than the rest of your body or something like that. Let us know. Send an email to podcast@caffeineandkilos.com.
Yeah.
That's a lot of calf talk.
It is. It's an interesting thing though because it is.
It's weird
because it is so common.
I do love,
especially in the bodybuilding circuit. That's where where this all full circle comes around to.
The whole muscle implant thing. That's really
that's what I was trying to get to.
Well, that's a really weird thing in the bodybuilding circuit anyway. Like, is that allowed?
Yeah.
So
most of them have it.
Yeah, like somewhere, right? Like you got something is fake.
Some people have trouble with getting their obliques to grow properly. So oblique, kind of like a not necessarily plastic surgery on their obliques, but they get like the that chisel where they basically sculpt it. Body sculpting, I think it's called, like something like that, where they go inside with like a scraper and basically suck out like certain slots in your side so that it can show better.
What the
fuck? Well, most of these, a lot of these, not all, but all of them. A lot of bodybuilders and on all different levels, it's not just, your typical steroids and working out hard. There's also a lot of people getting, surgery and, liposuction and ab sculpting and all these other procedures done. Yeah.
That's wild.
To get to to look like that.
So it's like, okay, it's not enough.
Some people genetically can have certain things, but some people just can't.
Well, the thing is, it's like, all right, so like it's not enough as far as the guys on stage just with all the steroids and shit just looking like freaks, right? Like, unattainable naturally to get to that size or whatever, right? But then you start taking in this type of stuff. It's like, well, actually, there's not amount of hormone replacement or hormone whatever that'll do this either. So like, talk about like airbrushing and shit. Look like what people should look like. You're taking that whole thing. It's like a whole nother extreme with people getting surgeries. It's like it's not even like, oh, that photo is airbrushed, or like, oh, that guy just taking so many fucking steroids, he's gonna die when he's 40. It's like, oh no, like that guy got like surgical enhancements.
Oh, for sure. And like I mean, that goes as deep as like, let's say like the Kardashians, like, you know,
Oh yeah,
Chloe,
fake asses.
well, not even just that. Like there's like you can find all their doctor photos and stuff from they get all their ab sculpting.
Yeah.
All their stomachs are all shaped with that ab sculpting process, right? Where they go in there and basically, literally, like chisel away your body fat inside of your stomach
In certain areas.
to give these like
pack or like
to give these lines exactly.
lines.
Yep. Yeah, it's like because they don't want, you know, there's the time it takes to do that, and some people, like, you know, you have children and makes it harder to get that way, like you kind of tighten things back up or this and that or whatever, and you know, it's not necessarily possible to look like that without that kind of surgery. And then but then they go and take these pictures, and girls think that they can look like that by doing, you know, Chloe's little, like, you know, 5-pound dumbbell air squats.
Well, you know what's weird too, because, or what's up about that, because sometimes you look at like a girl like that, and you see their midsection, and like I know what like normally toned midsection should look like, you know, and so you look at that and you're like, oh, this is interesting. Like they have those like little oblique lines, but then they're soft, and like how is someone who's just like soft looking, like in their midsection, like that's soft everywhere, but then you just have these two, like you do have like these kind of cuts on the sides of where your obliques come in, like,
yeah,
how is that? Like, how is that?
Yeah, like through that kind of stuff.
Oh, surgery.
Yeah.
No, about the kids tightening things up, I gotta tell you what though, I was like, my wife, we have 2 kids, and she's in the best shape of her life. Like, she's got better abs now than she ever has after having 2 kids.
Well, yeah, and also though, like,
but she also goes to the gym
exactly
4 to 5 days a week, and does CrossFit,
and probably eats pretty well,
squats over 200 pounds, and
eats right most of the time.
No, she eats right. She does.
So there you go. So it's like, you know,
I just want to have the appearance.
But not everybody.
I just want the appearance of health without actually getting the benefits of health.
Well, yeah, that's called money.
Oh man!
Like, what else do you spend your money on? Like
guess.
It's so hard. Like, you can almost like convince yourself when you get that ultra rich, right? Like why would I waste my time? Like, I don't have time to do all that. I just can go get this done and look how I want 6 months from now in one day.
You know the problem is with that though, is that the thing about exercise, like obviously a lot of people...
There's many things wrong with it.
Well, yeah, but it's like a lot of people like to say like, oh, I just work out because they want to look a certain way or act like that's like really the driving force. But then what's true also is you start getting in better shape and you feel so fucking good. Like you can tell the difference how you feel, right? And then it's like that... It's like a lot of times I think people start to work out or they begin that exercise for the like to look better type thing. Oh, I want to look like her. I want to look like him. I want to look like this.
The process is what's important.
But then you're doing it and you realize you're like, man, I feel so much better. And then when you stop or you take a break, you realize how much worse you feel. And it's like in the end, like sure you want to look good and all that. And I'm not going to act like that doesn't matter even later down the road. It still matters. You still want to look a certain way or like the way you look.
And also real quick, like we don't care like what you do.
I don't care.
We're just more...
It's the idea of exercise.
We're just talking about this is what some people do.
Oh, yeah.
I couldn't care less.
No, this is your thing, that's fine.
Yeah.
I'm actually saying this is your thing, that's fine, but you're missing the boat because once you actually feel the difference of how good you feel when you exercise regularly and eat not like a total asshole, it's like you don't want to do anything else. Like when you're not working out and you're not eating right, you just don't... You're like, man, I just don't feel good.
Getting ab sculpting is not going to give you the mental benefits of just working hard. All the endorphins you release naturally when you are working out to make you overall just feel better generally throughout the day. You're missing out on all that. You're just, once that's over, then you're still the same person.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. Not that that's a bad thing, or you know what I'm saying though. It's like you're not getting all that other extra stuff that's just not physical change from working out, and actually like being healthy like internally with your
that's what I was
your body's operating.
That's what I was getting around as much as anything.
Operating better.
Exactly. Yeah. You just feel exactly.
But the whole there's just I kind of like I guess we brought this up more just to talk about. It's just crazy. It's just kind of crazy to think about like the stuff that's out there and just general fitness like as a whole. That you just sometimes you don't even realize like like what's actually hard work and what's not anymore.
Yeah.
It's just crazy how far things are going with that. And luckily, there is a lot of good stuff to counter that out with, that people that aren't doing that, that have great results.
Absolutely.
That that you can follow their journey and like see what actual, not saying not actual hard work, but what hard work like looks like, what you can achieve without that stuff. Yeah. There's plenty of that out there to counterbalance the negative. Probably more. Because that's very expensive stuff to do, and that's a very small percentage of people can do that or have the have that kind of even like mindset to do that.
And the other thing is too that not everybody who does those things or looks that way doesn't exercise also. Like some people might work out and do all that also. Yeah. And they're okay, you know what, I just want to kind of do whatever. Like tighten things up. And again, fine. What do you want to do is on you. I don't know.
For sure. But yeah.
But I think sometimes there's a misconception. They look at someone and go, wow, look how the appearance. Look how healthy that person is.
And they're trying to shove some kind of product down you too, right?
Yeah, and
that's where it gets real slimy.
Well, and that's, you talk about again in the bodybuilding world, how it can get kind of dark sometimes. You get these people who, they win the Olympia, off of not that the only reason they won. Don't get me wrong, it's hard work. I'm not.
Oh, and it's their life. It's a lifestyle.
I'm not saying it's not at all, but I'm saying
they're doing all the hard work plus the extra stuff.
The guy that got fourth place, for example, whatever, like he's putting in just as much work as you are, perhaps, or pretty fucking close anyway, right? Mm-hmm. Say he's putting in the same. But then the person that won, was getting got some surgery done or something, and that fifth place guy didn't. Mm-hmm. Well, then the first place guy wins a bigger cash prize, gets an endorsement to some protein company or some supplement company. Mm-hmm. Now this supplement company is pushing supplements using this guy or girl as their spokesmodel who won due to surgical enhancements.
Yeah.
And again, just be clear, I'm not saying there wasn't a lot of hard work to win in their whole situation. Mm-hmm. I'm just saying them compared to somebody else who was in the top 10, who did not have that and may have put in the same amount of work. It's just very interesting.
It's very interesting.
And you can only control what you can control.
No, for sure.
I get all that. But it's just like, talk about people getting surgery to look a certain way and then selling products claiming that
you can achieve the
same results.
That's where it's weird.
Fucked.
Yeah, it's fucked. For sure. No, for sure. I know that like it's a known thing for sure, but some people don't know that.
Yeah.
More than you would think, actually.
Well, it's
more people than you think actually think that some things that are going on are just like anybody can do it.
Yeah.
With just like, a bag of protein and a bottle of BCAA. It's like you can achieve these.
But also there's the thing where people want to believe that. Like, okay, like here.
And who am I to say that they're not allowed to?
And classic Instagram, for example, or social medias, you have some girl who's got this giant ass and for sure, she probably does all kinds of glute workouts and stuff. I'm not saying she doesn't do all these types of workouts, mm-hmm. but a big part of what's going on there is either some sort of surgical procedure mm-hmm. mixed with whatever, genetics certain way. Maybe not everyone. I'm just saying there's a certain population, certain percentage, and then they're selling like these booty burner workouts. Mm-hmm. And it's like, hey, you want to have a transformation? Like, look like mine, look mm-hmm. like me. Well, also there's that some of the people who do that and buy that, they may realize they're never going to look like her, but it's like, am I going to look bad? Like, I want an ass like that. Mm-hmm. So like, if I follow her program, I'll get as close as I can. Mm-hmm. And I suppose that's a thing. But trying to selling it, saying like you can attain these exact results, that's not kosher.
Yeah, no, exactly. And like we were saying earlier, like doing all that, good for you. Have at it. But then don't, like, the only thing we have a problem with is when you try and, basically market it. This is how I did it. Exactly. That's where it's like, that's not cool.
Nah.
And that's pretty much it. Like, that's just not cool.
That's it.
And if people want to, but honestly, then you look at it this way. I know we've kind of been going a little long here, but, look at it this way. If someone's seeing that, got motivated to get in the gym, this is where it gets weird.
Yeah.
So now someone sees that, regardless if that person achieved that naturally or not or whatever, they see that, they get motivated, they get in the gym, they start doing this stuff, changes their life.
Yeah.
So then what?
Good.
Then what?
Great.
Yeah, that's true. That's why it all comes down to like, this is just our personal opinion. But but hey, there is an instance where it could help somebody.
Yeah.
There's always a There's always a light somewhere.
And you know what? And you know, like, ultimately, like, whatever you
Except
want.
in a black hole.
Whatever you want to do, go for it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
All right. Well, there we go.
Oh, there is. Well, we went all over the place on that one.
Yeah,
well, kind of. It was all on the same line, but I had no idea we were going to start talking about body modification in bodybuilding. And
I didn't know I was going to name my ex-principal who used to flex his calves.
You know what I think? I think that he probably has calf implants, and he's just really happy with the results.
He might.
It all came full circle.
He might. He might.
No, he just spent like 5 G's on those things. You gotta flex them.
Well, no, you know why I know he didn't? Because if he did, he wouldn't have a better one. You think the surgeon would work that out?
Yeah, maybe the surgeon, just got a little tired on that second one.
Dante, did you ever see his calves?
No.
Oh, that's too bad.
No.
He missed out.
Do you know this guy?
Oh yeah, he's well aware.
Jeez.
Yeah, he went to school there. I've got more stories I'll tell you off podcast too.
Off air. Mm-hmm. All right, well, till next time.
Till next time, this has been Gas Station Cappuccino. Send us an email, podcast at caffeineandkilos.com. See you next week.